We are back with a bit of a wardrobe change, location change for two of us, with our top 12 wide receivers for the 2020 season. I like the little, yeah, let's all show off what shirts we got. Yeah, so we're recording this a few days later. Kip had some family matters to take care of, so per usual. But you know what? Family man, we can always respect that. But before he has something else to attend to, we're just going to get right into it. Number 12, Kip, who do you have? Oh, he's not ready. Who do you have at number 12?
Guys, just go away. Okay. All right, number 12. I have,
Yelling at his wife to go away. That's a great thing, though.
I'll see you next week. I'll pay for your hotel room.
12 of Mike Evans.
Mike Evans, why do you have him there?
Okay. My top 12, they all have something in common. They command a large target share of their offense, and that results in fantasy production. So Mike Evans, he's on a pass-heavy offense, and yeah, him and Chris Godwin really eat, and he found himself, I believe he was a wide receiver one last season, had some injuries. I'm not too concerned. He's a reliable player.
I'm not too concerned with Mike Evans either. I'm going to stop you right there before you continue to go. Going into my number 12, I have Juju Smith-Schuster. He did not have a very good year last year, but you know what? I think he is bound to come back and have a great year. I'm a big believer in Big Ben as well, and when Big Ben is on the field, he makes the rest of the team better. I have Juju Smith-Schuster at number 12.
12 for me, Allen Robinson.
What?
A guy who's criminally underrated. A guy I whipped on last year because I didn't believe on Mitchell Trubisky, but 98 receptions, 1,200 yards, 7 touchdowns last year. I believe Nick Foles will be the quarterback there, and Nick Foles can't be much worse than Trubisky was. So I want Allen Robinson. 90-plus catches is pretty fair for Allen Robinson.
Okay, moving into 11, I have Juju Smith-Schuster. So everyone just always stares back at that 2018 season, that dream season where Juju Smith-Schuster catches 111 balls, 7 touchdowns, like 1,500 yards. It's insane. So him landing at 11, I think it's very possible. Deontay Johnson will be the man on the outside, and that's something that Juju needs. He needs some distraction so he can just slide in the slot. He eats in the slot. So I like Juju this season. Big Ben's
Quick
back.
question. Obviously, you got to celebrate being number 1 overall in one of your leagues.
Yeah.
So you're picking 24, 25. Are you going to take Juju in one of those spots or no?
Well, I have a few players that might
Would you take Mike Evans or Juju?
Juju.
All right.
I take
like that.
Juju. He's gonna have the top. He's gonna have the top target share on his offense, and Mike Evans likely won't. So.
All right, interesting stuff from Kip there. I have Mike Evans at number 11. I like Mike Evans just a little bit more because I think he's more reliable, and I think he had a pretty good season despite some injury concerns last year. And he's also been in the league longer. I know that doesn't technically mean anything in terms of the fantasy scope, but I think one thing that lends Mike Evans better is he has a better quarterback this year. And I think, wide receiver one with Jameis Winston, I think he lends the same not ratio. I don't know what I'm trying to say. Same like wide receiver one role, top 12 wide receiver with better quarterback there.
11 for me, Adam Thielen. I think you have to look back 2 years ago when he was fully healthy. He had 153 targets. This guy is a very good receiver. No Stephon Diggs. A rookie receiver, Jefferson, is not going to draw that many targets. Thielen's going to be the guy in the offense. We all don't like Kirk Cousins, but he still can throw for 4,500 yards. Thielen will be back inside the top 12 for fantasy.
And 10, I also am going to talk about Adam Thielen. Kirk Cousins has a nice rapport with Adam Thielen. And yeah, I mean, what Nick said, 2018, Adam Thielen was the guy. Every single game, he had 100 plus yards, plus a touchdown. That is money in the bank. And I feel like he's going to be the number one guy. So, and you're going to love having the number one guy in really any offense. So, Adam Thielen, 10. I'll cash that in if he falls to me.
All right, I like that take. You guys are not going to like this take. Put on your sirens. Bold take alert. My number 10 is Stephon Diggs. I do not have any concerns with him falling into Buffalo's offense. I think he is bound to have a pretty good year with a quarterback that likes to sling it deep. Stephon Diggs is a good receiver. He makes up for when his quarterbacks are bad. Obviously, Kirk Cousins and who was the guy before? Case Keenum didn't have that bad of a year when Stephon Diggs is on those teams, but I'm a believer in Stephon Diggs. I don't think he has any problem shifting into the Buffalo offense, and he is at number 10 for me. I will take that all day long.
Number 10 for me, Odell Beckham Jr. I would have him rank higher if he played with a very good quarterback. I'm not a big believer in Baker Mayfield. I know you are, Garrett. Jarvis Landry, you can draft him 4 or 5 rounds later. Or probably 2 or 3 rounds later, and Jarvis Landry actually had a better year than Odell last year. I think you're drafting him based off the name, but he's one of the 5 or 6 most talented receivers in football. And if you're banking on Baker Mayfield to be great, then Odell will have a great year.
So at 9, I have another player from the NFC North. I have Kenny Galladay from the Detroit Lions.
That's good. I thought you were going to say Devontae Adams. I was gonna...
Honestly, I love NFC North receivers. Talking about Kenny Galladay, last year he had a very productive season. He had 11 touchdowns on just 65 catches, so that worries me. That high production on low catches, that worries me, but he's still getting a ton of targets. He's Matt Stafford's guy. Matt Stafford's coming back strong. So, yeah, I'd be happy to take Kenny Galladay as my 9.
One thing to think about with this low amount of catches is that Stafford was out half the year. So, something to factor in when he has, I think he'll end up getting more targets and more receptions this year, which lends itself very well if you're in a half PPR or even PPR league. I have another NFC North receiver for my next 2, actually. My first one is Adam Thielen at number 9. I would agree with what you guys all said. He has had, he's an elite receiver, even if people aren't willing to admit it, or if people just don't notice it. He's kind of, he's a white guy. He, stays quiet, kind of stays in his own lane. He's not someone that like really jumps out at you as being an elite receiver. But Adam Thielen, a great receiver. He's doing fantastic there in Minnesota, and I think he finishes as a top 12 receiver in the league.
All right, number 9 for me, DJ Moore, Carolina Panthers.
Really?
I think people underrate DJ Moore as a player. I think they upgrade at quarterback. Teddy Bridgewater to me is middle of the pack, but middle of the pack is better than what they had last year. McCaffrey is going to be the number 1 target when defensive coordinators plan against the Panthers. Curtis Samuel is okay. They signed Robbie Anderson, but DJ Moore is going to lead this team in targets, and he's a candidate for 1,300 yards plus if Teddy Bridgewater plays the entire year.
Yeah, I also have DJ Moore here. So the take on DJ Moore is he's breaking out. It's his 3rd season. He's very athletic. He's carved out his spot as wide receiver 1. Curtis Samuel is not close. Robbie Anderson's coming in, but, he's not going to be a huge factor. He's going to stretch the field, of course. The only thing I worry about DJ Moore is short balls. He catches a lot of short balls, but his yards after catch is crazy. I think he has one of the highest yards after catch in the whole league. And with the amount of targets he's going to get and catches, also touchdowns, you might worry about his touchdowns, but he's going to get a lot of catches. So in full PPR, I'd love to have DJ Moore. So
Very interesting from both of you. I wouldn't bet against DJ Moore having a breakout year. I just am not sure about how his production goes there in Carolina. So with my number 8 pick, and let me get that out of the way. Meeting ends in 10 minutes, which means we got to go fast. Number 8, I have Kenny Galladay. Kenny Galladay is set to have a great year. He had a fantastic year with a bunch of bums at quarterback, and now Stafford is coming back with a healthy back. So Kenny Galladay is going to be a top 12 receiver, no doubt.
8 for me, Mike Evans. He's been in the league 6 years, and he's had 1,000+ receiving yards in each of his 6 years, which is pretty incredible when you think about how hard it is to play in the NFL. Big numbers. I think he'll be I think he'll have double-digit touchdowns this year playing with Brady. And yeah, I like Mike Evans here at number 8.
okay, 7. I'm not sure why you guys are so low on Mr. Allen Robinson. I have Allen Robinson at 7. Last year, Allen Robinson finished as the wide receiver number 8 in the whole league. He had 154 targets, so he's clearly the number 1 guy. He's clearly getting targeted a lot. He had poor quarterback play, which is probably why he only caught about 67% of his passes. So Foles coming in, that's an upgrade in my book. And I can see Robinson going for 90 catches and 1,200 yards.
All right. Very interesting take. I'm not as high on Allen Robinson, but you guys have the numbers to back up why he will be good. So maybe don't listen to my advice there. Going into my number 7, I have Amari Cooper. I think Amari Cooper is incredible, and Dak Prescott is a good quarterback for him. He obviously feels rejuvenated in the Dallas Cowboys offense. We saw that in the past year and a half when he got traded there. And now he has a long-term deal, so yeah, I think he's going to do great there. Some people worry about CD Lamb's taking away some of that production. I'm not too worried. I think Amari Cooper ends up leading himself pretty good this year.
7 for me, Kenny Galladay. This is the guy who I think has a top 3 wide receiver fantasy upside. The Lions' defense is not good in my opinion, and they got worse in the offseason. Stafford only played half the year, so if Stafford plays a full year, obviously Stafford's a really good quarterback. Kenny Galladay, big red zone weapon, 11 touchdowns last year. He could have a huge upside here.
Okay, rolling into 6. Might be a hot take, but I have DeAndre Hopkins at number 6. DeAndre Hopkins is going through a team change, going over to the Cardinals. For me, that's just a red flag. I do not like when receivers switch teams and go into a new regime. Kyler has built relationships with Christian Kirk already, and already has a relationship with Larry Fitz, of course, who's on his way out. But you can't argue with DeAndre Hopkins' production over the years. Last year, he had a very bad first half of the year and still landed in top 5 wide receivers. So you can't be upset with him. I just don't know how many targets he's actually going to get in that offense. So DeAndre Hopkins 6.
All right, very interesting take. Going into my number 6, I have Chris Godwin. I think Chris Godwin is an incredible receiver, obviously the breakout player from last year, and I was not able to grab him, but everybody who did was able to hit big with that. Big Chris Godwin believer again this year. Tom Brady is going to elevate his production, I think, and he's a guy that's going to be all over the field, so I'm not too worried about his target share with guys like Gronk or Mike Evans.
I agree with you, Garrett. Chris Godwin, number 6 for me. I think he's the better receiver than Mike Evans. Is pure talent playing outside and in the slot. Mike Evans is not a great receiver in the slot. He's the outside receiver. The only thing I'm concerned here is even though Jameis Winston threw 30 picks, they threw the ball all day long. They had 40-plus pass attempts a game. I worry a little bit about the Buccaneers maybe not exploiting Tom Brady like they did Jameis Winston. So my only concern is how many pass attempts they have this year. But Godwin will be, I think he'll be a high-end wide receiver 1 this year.
Okay, 5. I won't add too much to be a broken record, but Chris Godwin is my 5th receiver. Last year, he really broke out heavily, had 86 catches, 1,300 yards and 9 touchdowns. He's really on the field all the time, and I won't add too much else, but he's on the field all the time, whatever set they're in. So I'm happy to get Godwin if I have the shot.
All right, my number 5 is Julio Jones. If you've ever seen the Atlanta Falcons, or heck, if you've ever seen the NFL, you know who this guy is. He's consistent every single year, and I don't think his consistency drops anytime soon. He is my number 5.
5 for me, DeAndre Hopkins. Kip, you touched on it. I don't love when receivers switch teams, but I think he's too good of a player to fail, and I don't think Kyler Murray is susceptible to being as bad as Baker Mayfield was last year. Hopkins will lead this team at targets. They traded for him for a reason. Kirk is the slot guy. I have high confidence in Hopkins being a 1,000-yard receiver again.
Okay, 4, I have the Cheetah, Tyreek Hill. Now, Tyreek Hill last year was banged up. He had an injury that kept him out of his first few games. But this dude is a physical freak. He's a track star. He's got a 4.34 40. So he's going to beat any DB in the whole league. And you've seen his tapes. He gets behind any defense. And if he gets the ball, even if he's 1 foot ahead, he's gone. You can't catch him. He's the only guy in the league who's going to turn around and wave at you and score a touchdown on you. So in standard leagues, I would slide this guy maybe up to 2 because of the touchdown upside. But for full PPR, he's not hammered with short passes. He's the deep threat. And also, I'd like to add his rushing. He has a rushing component too. A few years ago, he was used heavily in the rushing game with his nice end arounds. He scored a few touchdowns there. So I feel like they're going to hand him the ball off some more this time.
All right, my number 4 is DeAndre Hopkins. I am not too worried about the component of him going to a new team. Similar to Stephon Diggs, I think he fits himself in the air raid offense nicely. Cliff Kingsbury, smart guy, young guy, should know how to fit DeAndre Hopkins in his offense, and I'm not too worried about that.
I agree with you, Kip. Tyreek Hill at 4 for me. The only thing I don't love about Hill is, week to week he can be inconsistent. He's not, a top-end Julio Jones where you're going to get 80-plus receiving yards a game. You're buying into Patrick Mahomes. You're buying into the Chiefs, and Tyreek Hill, fastest player in the league. You can't go wrong there.
All right, Kip, who do you have number 3?
Okay, moving to 3, I have Julio Jones. Julio Jones is an incredibly safe receiver to have. I just can't believe how far he can fall in some drafts. He can fall to the mid-second. If you can pair him with a nice RB1, you should be very happy because this dude can get 100 receptions. Last year he had 99 on 157 targets. There's only one guy with more targets than that, and we'll get to him later. You might say he's allergic to touchdowns. Yes, Julio Jones does not score a lot of touchdowns, but touchdowns are very random, and even without his touchdowns, he's getting that full PPR work, so I love Julio Jones.
All right, Julio Jones number 3. My number 3 is Tyreek Hill. Now, Tyreek Hill has been lying to the media a lot. He's going around saying he has 1% body fat. He can beat Primetime Deion Sanders one-on-one if he wanted to, and that's a load of horse crap. 1% body fat is impossible, and there is no chance he would ever beat Primetime one-on-one, but that should not scare you. Tyreek Hill is going to be a top 5 wide receiver, I believe, and I would put money on that.
Number 3 for me, Devontae Adams. Like I was talking to you guys earlier, he's only had 1 year of 1,000 yards receiving or more. He's been helped out by double-digit touchdowns, but we've seen the Packers, they want to run the ball more. They drafted A.J. Dillon. Aaron Jones is still there. Aaron Rodgers is aging. I like Devontae Adams, but he's not as consistently on the field as the top 2 guys.
Okay, too, I'm going to also talk about Devontae Adams. The reason I love Devontae Adams is he is so heavily leaned upon in this Green Bay offense. 2 years ago, he had 13 touchdowns, and you just love to have 13 touchdowns from your wide receiver one. Um, Devontae Adams, yeah, he does have injury concern. I would kind of be, waiting a little bit to press that draft button, but at the same time, when he's on the field, he's scoring like 18 plus points every single game, and he's getting deep passes, everything you love to see, lots of targets. Aaron Rodgers has a great rapport with him, so that's why I see Devontae Adams coming in at second.
My number second is also Devontae Adams. You gotta love Aaron Rodgers just chucking it to his most reliable wide receiver. There's once a time when Devontae Adams was like the third wide receiver in this, but he has only grown since then. Very excited to see what he does this year, but I'll tell you what, if they decide to start Jordan Love, Devontae Adams' production is going to go way down. Jordan Love is the wrong quarterback for this franchise, and no hate, obviously, but come on, you got A-Rod. So, Devontae Adams at number 2, I think that's a pretty safe bet. Nick, who do you have at number 2?
2, I got Julio Jones. Last 3 seasons, 47 out of 48 games played. That's money in the bank when you're talking about your first 2 draft picks. You want them playing each week. You don't want them on the bench. Julio Jones, elite consistency. You could book him down for right around 14 to 1,500 yards receiving. He's never been a big touchdown guy, but in PPR, he'll get 90 to 100 receptions.
All right, and number 1, I spelled it out because I'm pretty sure we all have the same guy. We have Michael Thomas across the board. Most reliable wide receiver. He's also one of the most quiet and kind of humble guys, which I can appreciate too. You can always count on him to get you reliable points every single week. Drew Brees might be faltering a little bit, but I don't see that harming his production at all. Anything you guys want to add to that?
Nope. Michael Thomas, obviously, he's going to get targeted over 150 times again, and 120, 130 receptions is pretty a reasonable prediction for him.
Yeah, I think this past season was a ceiling for Michael Thomas in a sense, because we don't see guys getting 185 targets, 149 catches, 1,700 yards. I mean, this sounds like I'm reading off Calvin Johnson's profile. It's amazing that he only scored 9 times out of 149 catches. So double-digit touchdowns is very, very possible. And, just if you're like in the top, 6, 7 picks, you're going to be happy to have Michael Thomas lead your team off.
All right, these are our picks, 1 through 36. Are we going to make any bets for this episode? Or are we just going to leave it as is? Because I'll tell you what, I am very confident that that Stephon Diggs is going to be a top 10 receiver. Or not a top 10, a wide receiver 1 this year.
You're lower on DJ more than me and Kip. Why are you lower?
I'm not as confident in the Carolina offense. He might have had good production last year, but with an offense that is kind of unstable as that and is reliant on Christian McCaffrey as they are, I don't necessarily see. I'm not going to put all my faith into him and being wide receiver 1. So there's that chance of it happening. He could definitely be the Chris Godwin of this year. He's just not the guy that I see stepping into that role. I think you guys are also pretty low on Hollywood Brown, if I'm not mistaken. I have him at 21. You guys have him in your 30s.
Yeah.
I just don't think he will be the number 1 target of that offense. I think Mark Andrews will lead that team in targets.
Okay.
Yeah, for me, he's a deep threat. They plug him in for certain plays. They got other guys. They have Miles Boykin. He's a tall receiver. The offense last season for the Ravens, it was only Mark Andrews and Hollywood Brown. So I feel like Lamar is going to spread it out more. And I just don't like to bet on Ravens receivers and tight ends. I don't know. You never know.
I hear you there. And then real quick, do we want to touch on Raheem Mostert? So if you haven't heard, Raheem Mostert has requested a trade. He's getting paid special teams money when he should be getting paid starting running back money. They tried to renegotiate a deal. His agent came out on Twitter and was like, you know what? I'm tired of it. I'm tired of this team not being fair with us, and we want out. We want to trade. And as if a trade would get him any more money. But, obviously the running back market is slim, so if he does get traded, it's not going to be for a whole lot, and it might be to a team that already has a starting running back on it. So, real quick, what team do you guys think he gets traded to, if he gets traded at all? And how does this affect his ranking in your? How does this affect his spot in your rankings?
If you can go first.
Where do I expect him going? I think he's going to the 49ers. I don't think he's going anywhere. If I had to bet, I don't know, the Saints maybe as a backup. This is just a bad situation. I feel like the agent kind of bullied him into doing this. Yeah, he should get paid. He should have gotten paid after that game that put him in the Super Bowl. He should have gotten paid right after that, but should have been addressed. But if he does leave, this is a huge bump for Tevin Coleman. I don't like the situation. He's not necessarily a starting running back. He's Shanahan really built him into the offense and got him into this carousel. So I don't think he survives on his own.
Okay, I was looking to see if Vegas had any odds on where he might go, and they don't. So, if he does get traded, I don't know if this is gonna decrease his value no matter what. I think that they're gonna end up using Tevin Coleman and Jared McKinnon a lot more if Raheem Mostert is like, you know what, I'm gonna sit out or do whatever. Tevin Coleman is definitely a very versatile and talented running back. He could definitely be the starter on that team. This is just a bit of a tricky situation. The most he gets traded for, I bet, is a 6, personally, or maybe a 5th. I don't know, but yeah.
I think a team to watch out for would be the Buccaneers here. They don't have an established running back in that backfield. The Tampa Bay's got a 1 to 2 year window. I don't see San Francisco trading him to them because that would just make them that much better, that much harder to deal with. But you never know. They're in another division. I could see it happen. I could see the Buccaneers making a play for him.
All right, very interesting stuff there. Any final thoughts on our wide receivers and any bets we want to make? I'm going to take that as a no from both of you. So it took a while for you guys to speak. Well, thank you guys for watching. Obviously, let us know where we got it right, where we got it wrong. And if you have, and give us your top 5 receivers. Give us your receivers that you think are going to do really good this year. And we'll probably disagree with you because you have Devontae Parker or something in your top 5. But thank you guys for watching. And as always, the lights shine brighter at Primetime. Enjoy your day.